Packing the right travel gear can make a trip smoother and more comfortable. But let's be honest, there are a lot of travel products out there that are completely unnecessary, despite what marketing, Instagram ads, and airport gift shops will have you believe.
Today, we're gonna be breaking down 12 overhyped, unnecessary travel items you do not need to waste your money on, and suggest several swaps and alternatives along the way. Let's get into it. This item could be the most debated one on today's list, so let's get it out of the way first. Neck pillows. There are a ton of different types of neck pillows. The classic U-shaped, bulky, weird, hooded pillows, wrap pillows. If variety and quantity give any indication on how popular travel neck pillows are, these are the coolest kids on the block. But honestly, they're extremely bulky, and typically you are only gonna use them on your flight, which is a very small portion of your trip. The rest of the time, you're just hauling this thing around and trying to not lose it. If you simply can't stomach the idea of taking a long flight without neck support, a couple of ideas for you. You could take your jacket or your scarf and roll those up to use as a pillow. If you're set on having a dedicated neck pillow, I would recommend opting for an inflatable neck pillow that packs flat when you're not using it. In keeping with comforts for the plane, any product that's designed to help you organize your stuff on the plane is absolutely unnecessary. There's a couple of versions of this that we've seen. There's tray table covers that have pockets for you to keep your stuff organized, and there's also this newer item called a Bevledge, which is an organizing station that latches onto the airplane window for cup holders and storage. Like, what do people use this for? Like neck pillows, you will only be using these items on the airplane, and personally, we don't believe they add enough value for the money or the extra space in your bag. Now, if you're concerned with germs on the tray table or the backseat pockets, just bring a disinfecting wipe with you to wipe everything down when you get on the plane. Our other recommendation is to just not have that much stuff out on the plane, that you need to have it organized. If you do, just keep your loose items in a little tech pouch or some type of easy cube to grab. Simple.
I personally learned this one through experience. You almost certainly do not need to buy a travel hairdryer or pack a hairdryer in general. I carried a travel hairdryer around the world for 6 months, and I maybe only used it 3 times. In the end, it was pretty useless and just took up space in my bag. It's highly likely that your accommodations or your hotel or Airbnb will have a hairdryer to use. If you 100% need to have a hairdryer, which I totally understand because I do too, I recommend you filter your Airbnb selections to ensure they have a hairdryer and or inquire with your hotel to ensure this amenity is available. This little bit of extra work on planning on the front end is worth it to save space and not have to pack a hairdryer. You know, one thing that isn't overrated? Having reliable and affordable cellular data abroad. Your phone is essential for navigation, messaging your Airbnb host, or sharing your adventures with friends back home. But without a plan, you're gonna pay out the wazoo for roaming fees. Now, you could go with your home carrier's international plan, but those are often pricey. Or you could buy a local SIM card, but that can be a time-consuming hassle. That's why we recommend an eSIM. eSIMs have the benefits of a physical SIM card, but you don't have to go anywhere, talk to anyone, or physically put anything in your phone. Our eSIM of choice is Overhyped, which offers eSIMs in over 200 destinations worldwide with unlimited data and no roaming fees. Setup takes just a couple of minutes. You're gonna download the Overhyped app, choose your plan, install the eSIM, and you're good to go. If you're ready to get started with Overhyped, head to the link below and use the code AWAYTOGETHER for 5% off your eSIM purchase. Thanks Overhyped for sponsoring this video.
So several of the items we've mentioned so far would all fall into a category we would call single use. This isn't to say all single-use travel items are bad, not at all, but there are a ton of single-use gadgets touted for travel that are just completely unnecessary. 2 that we see mentioned often in listicles from publications like Travel and Leisure that you shouldn't buy are portable coffee and espresso makers and travel irons or steamers. Like, you can still get coffee abroad, and most accommodations have an iron. If your clothes being wrinkled is a pet peeve, pack a wrinkle spray or opt for clothing made from fabrics like merino wool that are anti-wrinkle. Unless you're a content creator or a professional photographer or videographer, your phone's camera will suffice for capturing pictures of your travels. You do not need to go buy an expensive camera like a GoPro or a DSLR just for your trip. These items are expensive and they take up quite a bit of space. Also, for many of these, it's common to have a learning curve. And so if you're unfamiliar with the camera that you plan to take, you run the risk of the photos you take not turning out the way you like, or just getting really frustrated on how to use the gear and end up abandoning them mid-trip. Phone cameras are crazy good these days. All the footage you're looking at right now was shot on an iPhone. And there are mega influencers who solely rely on their iPhone for capturing content. If it's good enough for them and they can get millions and millions of views with it, it's probably good enough for you too.
A trendy yet totally unnecessary travel item is a passport case. It may seem cute to have a beautiful cover for your passport, but that's about the extent of the benefits. When you go through passport control, you have to remove any covers from your passport, so more than anything, these cases become an annoying hassle. This also extends to special travel document holders. You don't need to go spend the $15, $20+ on a special folder for your travel documents. We recommend having digital copies of your important documents on your phone and printed copies folded up in a basic Ziploc bag and put in the bottom of your luggage. It's an easier solution that works and costs little to nothing. We are big proponents of reusable toiletry containers. You can save money not buying travel-sized toiletries, and you could just use the products you have at home dispensed into these travel containers. What we are not proponents of is buying overly expensive versions of these reusable containers. There are popular brands of reusable containers like Cadence that, while beautiful and functional, they're just way too expensive and just not worth that kind of money in our opinion. A set of 3 of these magnetic reusable containers will run you about $70 on Amazon. That's insane. There are so many other affordable options if you're looking for containers like these. We like Human Gear a lot. They have a 4-piece stackable container set that will run you about $12, and it gets the job done all the same. In keeping with toiletries, it's unnecessary to bring full-size toiletries or too many toiletries for that matter. There's a trend going around on TikTok, at least on my FYP, to bring copious amounts of skincare products on the plane to do basically a full-fledged skincare routine. This is completely unnecessary, guys. You don't need to run out and buy a bunch of travel-sized versions of expensive skincare products to have on the plane with you. Additionally, you run the risk of too many toiletries, particularly liquids, holding you up at TSA and getting thrown out. A majority of these places you'll be traveling to will likely have stores or pharmacies that you can buy necessary products you may want or need when you're there. Save space on bringing things like hairspray and just get some at a local store when you land. The same goes for generic medicines like ibuprofen or Tums. Don't feel like you need to pack a whole bottle. Just take a few in a Ziploc bag or a small medicine organizer, and if you end up needing more while you're there, you can just pop into a pharmacy. This will save you space and peace of mind.
Another overhyped and frequently recommended travel product is a money belt or any accessory intended to hide your money. I think at one point, these seemed like the ultimate safety hack, right? Pickpocketing is a concern in some destinations, and being aware of your belongings is important, but a money belt isn't necessarily the best solution. For one, they're uncomfortable, and digging around under your shirt to pay for coffee in Rome is both awkward and a bit of a dead giveaway that you're a tourist. Instead, experienced travelers use a few smarter tricks. First of all, just have situational awareness and know where you're at. In really, really crowded areas, that's where you need to watch your pockets. Secondly, if you're someone who carries a wallet, highly recommend front pocket wallets and keeping it in your front pocket. If your pocket zips, that's a plus too. Last but not least, instead of a purse or a bag that you're wearing on your back, you could use a small crossbody bag or sling that you wear in the front. There's a few luggage accessories, mostly intended for safety, that are honestly just not necessary. For example, most luggage these days has some form of built-in TSA-approved locks, and so unless you have a bag that doesn't have this feature, going out and buying luggage locks is just not needed. Another is luggage straps. They're really not worth spending your money on, and nothing screams there's something valuable in here more than visible additional security measures. If for any reason the TSA needs to look in your luggage and these straps aren't TSA accessible, they're just gonna cut them off your suitcase. The best peace of mind is to not pack anything too valuable in your luggage. Put these items in your carry-on to ensure that you have them on you at all points in transit, or better yet, just don't pack anything you aren't willing to part ways with.
Let's face it, most of us are trying to pack Too much stuff. Products like vacuum seal packing cubes or backpacks with vacuum seal components are not looking to help alleviate this issue, they're just encouraging more of it. These bags allow you to pack more stuff by sucking out the air in the bags, giving ultra compression, more compression than you would get by any standard type of compression packing cube. In theory, this seems great, right? I can fit all the stuff that I want and I don't have to compromise. Wrong. All of these bags need some sort of vacuum or additional pump to get the air out. So sure, you got it packed, but what about when you try to come home? Will you have a vacuum to help recompress all your clothes? Do you really want to pack an additional air pump and bring that with you? Don't spend money on ways to fix your overpacking problem. Instead, use more strategic packing solutions to help you pack smarter and lighter. If you're interested in how I pack carry-on only, you can watch this video here. Thanks for watching and happy travels.